I know my Joes.
I need to get the box set.
They're a little expensive, but I think you can actually get them on Blu-ray. The cartoons are fun. I mean, they are what they are. Everybody had laser guns and nobody got killed, and somehow everybody survived every adventure. The movie was the only one where they got kill, kill, kill. Quick little bit of trivia about the G.I. Joe movie. Hasbro, in that year, decided we're going to be changing our toy lines through Transformers and through G.I. Joe. And we're going to, introduce a whole new line of characters and stuff for each franchise. And we're going to drive sales by putting out these theatrically released films. So the first thing they did was they put out Transformers, the movie. And that traumatized me and everybody else who watched it. Because, of course, they killed Optimus Prime as well as, Ironhide and all the other, Decepticons and Autobots, except for a few.
Bro.
Yep. So then they got to the G.I. Joe movie, and they were like, this didn't go over well, because they had parents and kids and everything else just screaming and crying and everything else and pissed at them because they killed Optimus Prime. So then they got to the G.I. Joe franchise. Well, they were going to kill off Duke, and they were going to kill off some other characters too, probably. And they said, we can't do this again. We can't put the kids through this again, especially because these are humans and stuff. So they decided to they kind of retconned the Duke thing. And it's like, yeah, you see him get shot with the, with Serpentor's serpent spear, and he looks like he's dying and stuff like that. But it's like, they say, oh, you're going to rush him off to the hospital. Well, and then they include that extra little clip towards the end where they cut in with where Hawk says, and good news, Duke is going to be just fine, even though you never see him for the rest of the film.
We had to work hard to try to figure out the best time to work that in, just so we can at least keep the character alive.
George, I believe you're referring to Zartan, who is my favorite of all Cobra guys. I love Zartan. Zartan is my favorite. In fact, I would consider getting that toy again. In fact, I bought 2 of those when I was young. He was such a cool character.
I like Tomax and Zamat.
I liked Tomax and Zaymot too, but they came out a little bit later, and their guns weren't very good. The sculpts were okay. The new ones look really, really good though. But when you see them in the comic book, man, they're awesome in the comic book because they're almost like circus acrobats. Yeah, Optimus, I bet you wish you could have gotten on here. Chuckles, yeah, Chuckles was cool.
Actually, the IDW stuff had some really good comics with Chuckles.
Bubblegum guy. Who are we thinking about with Breaker, the communications guy? Was he always blowing bubbles?
Yeah, Breaker. So actually, come to think of it, I was just reading one of the comics where they scared a bunch of the Cobra off by blowing the bubble into the microphone, and they got a sound like the tank shot him.
That's right. I remember that comic book. I have that one. Do I have long enough hair to cosplay as Zartan? Well, even if I did, I'm not, physically buff like Zartan, because Zartan was massively buff. Cobra because Baroness. Yes, everybody likes Baroness, especially with that leather suit.
We need to do a
G.I. Joe special. Campaign. Yes, we do need to do a G.I. Joe special. We need to get Optimus Clyde and just talk G.I. Joe. And maybe Victor, because Victor liked G.I. Joe too. One thing that was cool about the comic books, Larry Hama really took those comic books and he did something special with it. I mean, he took a toy line and he put such I wouldn't say realistic necessarily, but a more realistic tone to where he wasn't treating those guys like they were toys. He was treating them all like they were actual characters who got shot, who bled. I remember the most horrifying G.I. Joe comic book I ever bought. They killed General Flag. They blew up the Baroness. You thought she was dead. And I think they either shot or injured Hawk all in the same comic book. And it was just because, here I am, a little kid, and I read that, and I'm just like, oh my God, what happened to all these characters? Oh yeah, and they killed off Eskimo Quinn, who never got an action figure, but absolutely should have. But yeah, the October Guard figures that came out for the G.I. Joe line originated in the comic book. Did Quinn eventually get a figure? We'll have to look that up now. Let's look that up. Quinn the Eskimo. I don't think he ever did though. All right, Quinn the Eskimo G.I. Joe. Did he ever get a figure? Well, Memories of Tomorrow. They have pictures of him and stuff like that in semi-realistic ones, but I don't think it's actually him. They do say that there's Quinn action figures, are they? I'm
a little disappointed that the classified series Breaker doesn't have a special sculpt for him with a bubble blown.
Well, that's what Clyde was saying. He said that they do. Oh man, they got Big Boa in Classified now.
Yep, I was just looking at that.
Wow, Big Boa is cool. And I love the low light in Classified because he's got the the sniper rifle that can break down and be put in the case and stuff. Yeah, I don't own any of the Classified series stuff yet, but seriously, the 10-year-old in me is like, please, let's get some and play with them. I keep telling myself, you're 50.
If it helps, like apparently Tomax and Zamat are like $10 right now on Amazon.
Yeah, and I would get those because those guys look cool.
So they're like more than half off.
Oh, it's a 25th anniversary 3 3/4 inch breaker, not a Classified. Oh well, screw that.
I still love the fact that like they went ahead and got the Sergeant Slaughter made.
Yes.
And the fact that he has a little tiny action figure of himself.
I'm going to get that because Sergeant Slaughter was one of my favorite characters. I was big into wrestling at the time, so I knew who Sergeant Slaughter was. And then when he did go to G.I. Joe, it was like it was like reality and toy cosmology just kind of like just ran together. And
they're also doing like little 2-packs of grunts. So we got Blue Ninjas.
Are they going to re-release the William the Refrigerator Perry figure? I would hope so, just because William Perry could use the money. I understand that he had to have a leg amputated or something because he's very overweight and diabetic. I do have my original William the Refrigerator Perry action figure that I sent off for, and it has the big gridiron football on a chain thing. It's and it's an original. I have the metallized. I have the one of the what do you call them? I have the Sergeant Slaughter that you sent off for. I have the Cobra Commander that you sent off for with the hood, and I had the what is that guy? Not Crimson Guard, but the Steel. Was it Steel Legion or something?
Steel Viper?
Steel Brigade. The Steel Brigade action figures, the ones that you could play yourself as a G.I. Joe. You could make your own custom G.I. Joe, and they would print you up a little file card, and they made these Steel Brigade action figures that were basically like resurfaced parts from other figures, and they just put them all together and put them in a package, and you could do that. I have a Steel Brigade figure, and they redid that for Classified because they have Classified Steel Brigade figures now, and they have a male and a female version. God, I'm a nerd. G.I. Joe is really my wheelhouse, man. This is the Steel Brigade, the male and female figures. Yep, and that's the jump jet behind them. The helmet that they've got on in the picture is the original ones that the little figures had. And as you can see, the lower torso with the knee pads and everything like that was all repurposed from the paratrooper they had originally.
Well, I mean, that's also kind of what the Hasbro's been saying, is that the biggest thing that's going to cause them to pull the trigger on making something is how easily it can be turned around for reusing the molds. Almost any opportunity to make a new Starscream, that's going to be done no problem, because they can turn around and recycle that for like all the other Seekers. That's happening no problem. But we don't want to get into those really specific things like Six Shot, or you start getting to the really niche characters for Transformers, for example, then you really got to fight for it.
Well, I guess that's why there's like 4 different bats, and why the original Transformers line had 3 jets that were all the same except for their paint jobs. And then later on for Series 2, they put out 2 more jets that were basically using the same base robot design. They just had some different wings. Yeah, Optimus, they make a Starscream for almost every line. Yeah. Because he's popular. Everybody likes that douchebag.
Then, of course, we've got to have Shipwreck.
Yep. And that Shipwreck has a lot more than the original character did, because the original character only had the parrot and that little grappling hook thingy. He didn't even have a gun, if I remember right.
Hey, look at this. Now he's got 2 of them.
And one of them is like an old Webley.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite of the 2 right now. Plus, he even has a separate little separate like hair skull.
Hairpiece, yeah. He's got a hairpiece now. Which
kind of makes sense, because it's easier just to like, rather than put in a second head, we're just going to easily put in this easily swappable part.
Optimus Thundercracker was my actual very first Transformer toy that I ever bought. It was Thundercracker, the black jet.
I got mine right here.
Is that Thundercracker?
Yep. These are
they must have been okay. It must have been Skywarp then, because Skywarp was the black one. Yeah, that's him.
I have Starscream too.
Of course you do. You're nerds.
we'll have to do the G.I. Joe campaign. Then because the crossover book exists, we'll work in a little bit of
Okay, but
Transformers just out of obligation's sake.
Yes, but if we do, we need to lean on Grimm to let us play named Joes.
See, I think it'd be more fun to kind of go from like our own little backgrounds. Like you'll be like this Texas Ranger.
That may be too close to being self-insertion, though. But
we're indulging a little bit.
Yeah.
Come on, it's like how often do we ever do that with other campaigns? No, let's do it once with the Joes.
George, my friend had the Megatron that turned into the Luger, and that was pretty cool. I had a choice. I want to say my 11th or 12th birthday, and it was either Megatron or Optimus Prime. I opted for Optimus Prime. So I think I still actually have my original Optimus Prime. Mercurius and Mary Sue. No.
Well, look. We're not. No one said anything about being, invincible and having the bestest ever. But like, look, if I go down, I'm going down. I've got the books. Maybe we can bust them out and kind of look over them a little bit if you want to check out some of like the class stuff.
Maybe that would be good. One thing that really caught my attention very, very quickly: Crocmaster and his giant crocodile.
Yes.
I mean, my first priority is to find bats. If I can find bats, that's my big thing. Everybody's going to be putting in a wish list. Could you get me a stalker? I want a recondo. I want to come. I want a snow job. And
sorry, you want a what now?
Snow job. You don't remember Snow Job?
Oh, the Joe. Oh,
the guy who looks like you. It's the Ironcaster action figure that was created before he was.
So that's where the inspiration came from.
Yeah, you're going to have to ask your dad about that. Well, son, I was really into G.I. Joe and wanted a kid that looked just like the Arctic Trooper, so we almost called you Snow Job, but you ended up with the name Ironcaster.
They broke the mold when they made me.
There you go. He was a cool figure, though, because the little skis and the little pitons and everything like that, they all fit onto his backpack. And the laser gun that he's got in his hands there, that was pretty much the same gun all the characters in the cartoon used. I'm still waiting for my USS flag that I never got from Santa. Can you imagine if they made a USS flag now that was for classified size? God. I mean, because the old one was like 9 feet long or something, or 6 feet long. Can you imagine a new one?
You would need a room just for it.
You would. It's like that. Have you seen that giant Unicron that they've got?
Oh, yeah. I drooled over it.
I did too, but
is like bigger than a basketball. It's like,
yeah, it is. It's huge.
Like 50 tall.
Yeah, it's mammoth, and it has all the different things for the head where you can take the eyes out and stuff, and yeah.
Oh, good news, T-shirt. I checked Hasbro Pulse. Don't worry, you could get some stuff in there on sale.
No.
Yeah.
Oh God, no. Who's gonna buy this?
What is this face? This is like a monster. No.
Oh, and she comes with parts for Iron Man? Oh, for Hydra Stomper. That's what I hated about that crap. You have to buy all these characters that you don't want in order to get a character you do. Back when they had the piecemeal version of Thanos, I really considered it. Oh my God, look at that Blitzwing. Look at that.
I was just thinking about this one. I might have to look at them later.
That's so cool. Show me.
Look at him.
I had Blitzwing as a kid. I may still have him somewhere, actually. But he didn't have all those though.
Yeah, they like gave him accessories.
Oh, listen to us, guys. We're I'm 10 again. We needed Clyde on this one really bad because Transformers is kind of his wheelhouse.
I am a little concerned about the way the little like missile pods, like the missile pod hands are attached on there. Is it just that little peg?
I think so.
Probably why it's for like $30.
Yeah, but who's that for? That's not for the kids, because the kids sure as hell aren't paying $30 for that. You're not going to go out and buy a $30 toy for the kids, and because then you have to buy another $30 toy for them to fight each other with.
Or you could get all those like Indiana Jones figures that totally sold.
Oh no! How much are they selling those on clearance or anything? I bet you those things are on alleys.
They're like $15 each.
Ooh, the Hoth Luke Skywalker with the yellow lightsaber. I had it. Had past tense way back in the day. I will admit the first 2 Star Wars characters, because I bought 2 of them when I was I want to say 4. I was 4 years old, and I bought a Stormtrooper and Chewbacca. Those are my first 2 characters I ever bought for Star Wars.
I think mine was a Luke Skywalker, and I mean like Tatooine Luke, because I think it came with the land speeder.
Mine didn't come with the land speeder. I got the land speeder for Christmas. I got some cool shit for Christmas one year, and I wish I still had some of that stuff because back then, God, we're going down nostalgia road here. Serpentor's Lair, hire me. Back then, you could buy like special Star Wars toys that weren't sold in the stores. They were only sold at Sears or through Sears, and I had some of those things. Like I had an AT-AT that was only sold through there, but it was just a cardboard mock-up, and there was a cardboard mock-up of a sand crawler and some other stuff, and that was only sold through Sears.
The poster boy is even on clearance.
He doesn't look good though.
What is up with this like bored face?
Yeah. Who sculpted this? Oh, but it does come with a D20. Look at that. He looks smug.
I think the bottom half looks pretty good for a figure.
Well, I mean, yeah, the figure looks good, but the head looks terrible. Yes, Mark. The Sears Snaggletooth was taller than the regular one because the one you bought in the stores was red and short. The one you bought at Sears was blue and tall. And I always wondered about that because me and my friends were always wondering where the blue one was. We didn't know that the secret of, you had to go to Sears to buy it because we were like, 4 and 5 years old. Luke with the telescoping, the ones that were like into his arm and stuff, and you would pull them out.
See, I got spoiled because I grew up in the mid to late 90s, so I got to get like the better articulation.
Yes. Well, heck, I remember when I bought the first G.I. Joes I bought, they didn't have swivel arm battle grip. They didn't have that many angles of rotation or anything like that on the figures. And whatever plastic they were using for the hands, the thumbs had a real bad habit of breaking off. But they got better. They got better much quicker.
Well, we will have to delve down this road some more at a later date.
We will.